your lineup. And I think at this point, we just podcast about the week.
That's all right.
Yeah. So, FlyQuest.
Uh-huh.
They are 6-0.
Yes.
They've beaten all of the top teams. Are they? It is too soon to say if they're going to go 18-0.
But you're gonna
like, are they going to go 18-0?
You're going to ask the question.
Yeah, like, because that's just what you do when a team is undefeated.
Yes. Go,
Yes,
Mark.
they're going to go 18-0?
No, okay, no. No.
Cut.
No.
It's you.
Let's go.
Don't do that.
Go,
Don't do
Raz.
that. It's a no.
Take it.
The answer is a no. That's not going to happen. I think if there was a chance, if it's a best of 3 situation, that you can say, oh, consistently they can win out games even if they make mistakes in draft.
Sure, that's like the T1 undefeated.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The T1 undefeated is possible, but that's not the case here. It's a best of 1, and we could see teams like Cloud9 and Evil Geniuses, the way they play the game. In fact, the EG FlyQuest game, I was looking great for Evil Geniuses, even in the bad draft. So it's like, I have to have faith that a team can knock them down at least once.
It's close because I think they look like they should be favorites in every game they play by a pretty substantial margin. When you look at the other 17-1 teams, it was almost always like a weird game that just clipped them at the end towards the back half of the second round robin. I think that was the case with Immortals when they lost to CLG in that crazy one.
This was back in 2016, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was a similar thing for the TSM roster as well, who had a 17-1 record. It's like it's very hard in the second round robin to not let one game get away from you.
Yeah, and I remember we're talking about that IMT team in Spring Split. I was with Dignitas. We sucked, but there was one game where all of our players were firing off. We were stomping IMT. We threw at the end, so whatever. But the main point of being is like some days, like you can just come in one day, have the draft that you've been looking for, and play extremely well in a best of 1 and take it. So that's why I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen. But the team is looking better and better, even with a sub.
Yeah, I think single games are actually the key here in terms of like why I don't think they can do it, and it has like actually nothing to do with how good of a team I think they are, and everything to do with the fact that when you're in a single game format, games are so flippable depending on draft and condition of day.
Yeah.
I think.
Are you also a no?
I mean, I think it's possible.
I'll
right?
just say if everyone's gonna say no,
Like,
I'll say yes.
yeah, exactly.
The contrarian.
'Cause-
Mark,
so
the
Fnatic-
always contrarian Zimmerman.
Fnatic in 2015 did the 18-0. And then they actually lost a bunch of best of 1s in the playoffs, even though they ended up being the champions. And they've beaten the best teams now. So, like, I think they're going to go at least 9.
Yeah.
Right? We also, but of course it can flip because I think it's like COD, TSM, and Immortals or something that they play next week. If you're going to say yes, I also want to know, if no, how many games? Like the recalibration of FlyQuest.
Yeah.
17, 16, 15, like what's your over and under?
I've been 18-0 all year. That's why they're number 1 on top of my power
You
rankings.
have not been 18-0 all year.
Prove it.
You've never done it. Okay, schedules for next week are in the back. So we got a Super Week coming up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Let's find the logo. Immortals first for
Well,
them.
it's not happening this week.
Yeah,
They're not
yes,
losing
it's
this week.
second.
Oh, they play against the 100 Thieves
and
again on
100
Friday.
Thieves third. So that's one.
Okay.
People were
That's-
really looking forward to that game today.
No.
They just played today. That
Yeah,
can't be right.
that's not
Yeah,
right.
that's this Friday's match schedule. You tricksters.
Whoa!
It's
That's
not
incredible.
wrong,
Wow.
but it is wrong.
They
It
wanted
is
to trick us.
Yeah,
wrong.
it's supposed to be COD on Friday.
To answer your
Yeah.
question, though, I will say that they'll lose 4 games.
14.
Oh, wow.
I think they'll lose 4 games overall, and it will probably be to EG is going to be 1 loss. C9, I think, can take a game off of them. And I think that they'll lose maybe to Team Liquid because I don't know what to gauge from Team Liquid. I think Team Liquid is just a wild
They're
card
gonna go
right now.
4
Hold
and
on.
5 in the back.
Hold
Yeah,
on. I
wow.
think this is a huge hedging opportunity for me. So I
Oh,
said C9.
no.
I said C9 would finish ahead of FlyQuest in the standings. Can I hedge that they're going to win more than 14 games?
No.
Oh, God.
Oh, you
And then we
can't.
can just trade
No.
punishments?
Oh, my God.
I hate this idea already.
Okay. So all right. Numbers?
I go 4 losses.
14.
I said 2. Because
16,
I agree with Raz, but I don't think they'll lose that many games. Like, I think there are clear teams that are just underneath them, even though FlyQuest is, like, obviously the best team right now, that I think they can drop a single game to.
Yeah. I'm at 16. But 17 and 18 are actually in play. They're
That's
super good.
18.
Okay.
Like I said, they won 18.
FlyQuest is the best. Next question we have is, who is the second best team in the LCS right now?
Ooh.
But who's 4 and 2?
Yeah, it's
C9's 4 and 2.
C9, EG, Hundo.
EG's
Yeah.
4 and 2.
Yeah.
Hundo's 4 and 2.
Yeah. My gut.
At the start of the year,
answer is 200.
Oh, she has the answer.
Jatt, I swear to God, once a day in meetings, like off air,
I need to
he's
turn
right
Siri
next
off.
to his mouse.
I really need to turn
He's like
Siri off.
stretching. He's like, well, I wonder who this is going to be. Siri just chimes in during meetings and stuff. Bro,
It has
I'm
the
going to
most
throw that thing off
random
your wrist.
answer.
I apologize.
I'm going to flush it down
I
your throat.
have a clear answer for this. I think it's EG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on their actual map play. Like, I think you could see that today. And I think you could even see it in a few of their other games, even when they look shaky. I think the intent behind what they do is really, really clear.
Yeah.
So for me right now, they are the second best team in the LCS.
I go EG as well. I think even with like the JoJo trolling moments, it's like usually it's some. There's a couple times where it is unforgivable, but a lot of the times it's also like I'm trying to pressure and like ride the line between too safe and too aggressive. I think their win over C9 kind of cemented it. I think they would have been the other team I was interested in, and the fact that they took them down pretty handily was a big dub for me.
I mean, I was going to say EG. I think Cloud9 is the clear second. For me, the team that I always tend to doubt for whatever reason is 100 Thieves, and they keep surprising me. Like, 100 Thieves is a team that I said was going to be a fourth best team, and it seems like, sure, they lost to C9 at the beginning of the
They have
split.
looked really good. Tenacity's been super good.
Tenacity having a really fire game today was something that I couldn't, especially versus Impact.
Yeah.
Really changes how I view this team. And on top of that, their drafts have been really straightforward, and I've really appreciated. I think their drafts have been smart every game. And then on top of that, the way they contest and fight for objectives is just smart.
Yeah.
So everything I see from just their games wants me to say that they're a top 2 team. But I can't count out EG and Cloud9 because of who they are.
Yeah.
So for now, I'm going to keep doubting them, but I'm just letting people know the footage is out there of me saying not to count this team out.
I originally said 100 Thieves was going to have a bad start to the year, but then still have a chance of winning the split.
Yeah.
But they've had a good start to the year. And I think for questions like this, sometimes I like figuring out who is running it down the most in a fixable way,
Yeah.
right? So to therefore be underrated. And it's a little bit of EG, I think.
Yeah.
Because they had that really kind of throwy game against CLG where part of it was bad draft because they got so easily outscaled with a few mistakes.
Yeah.
And then they also had that random Jace pick when Impact talked about how they were cornered in 4 or 5 of the draft, and that's their 2 losses.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And everything else they won. I had them power rank #1 going into the year.
Same.
So I'm going to still stick with EG.
You know what's really interesting is it's hearing you say that is kind of a throwback to last year where we would kind of really go in on a lot of EG's drafts.
Yeah.
And that was like, we were like, when
Back at
they figure this out, they're going to be so good. And then they ended up winning the split. So.
Yeah, because if you're like a bad patch team, it doesn't matter that much in the regular season as long as you make the playoffs because you sit on the playoffs patch for so long, and as long as you're like top 4, you get double elimination, so you get a chance to learn the patch, and you're going to be able to do that more long term. Anyways, the MasterCard Player of the Week is Chris. 2 out of 3 this week in particular. 21 kills, 2 deaths, 16 assists against top opponents. We just said EG and 100 Thieves are the second, third best team in the league.
Last week was a debate. This one's not even a conversation. that really Prince performed out of his mind in both of these games. And so it really does cement what is dominance for him this split. It reminds me last year you started to see Inspired stack Player of the Week after Player of the Week, and you started to have the conversation about MVP. I know that you in this or that basically had that as a slide. This guy has started the first 3 weeks really on fire.
I agree. He's been so dominant. He's been set up well. I think it's actually, there's going to be a really interesting thing that happens to FlyQuest during the split because he's been so good with Winsome.
Yeah.
But Ayla's going to show up at some point, and I wonder how that's going to be for the team.
This was the game that kind of made it really contentious because they got pinched hard. They banned 3 things on red side. There were a takeaway in the first round, Rob. Oh, the chef.
Okay, Prince is going to cook the team dinner. I think this is fraudulent.
This
but
is not
we'll
a
see.
good
I don't
idea.
think Prince is going to cook.
That's
I
the
think
meat on
they're
the table.
faking him cooking, but that is some good-looking meat.
It's hard to mess
he
up
did say he was really picky about food.
Yeah.
And he likes spicy food, so I wonder.
Season though, I don't know if he has to do much other than fill him up.
And yeah, it's really hard
That's
to
the
mess
throw
up
down
beef,
there.
period. Like, what are you going to do? like you can just say, guys, I meant for it to be
overcook
extra rare. I just meant that was
make it a brick. I meant to turn it into sawdust.
You're saying?
Just that they got pinched really hard in the draft. They had to go down to Nautilus Kai'Sa, which is like not a bot lane you play in the current meta. No one really wants to play that. And then they still got 2v2 kills in lane and then still popped off in team fights. So that was just a huge, like, oh, it's not just the meta stuff with Winsome. He actually might deserve the spot over Aleph. They can do that.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that. We've talked a lot about Prince. We're going to continue to talk a lot about Prince because he's the best and they're the best team. So let's take a moment and ask who is the runner-up for Player of the Week. We've like never done this. But it's not an official award. We're just saying like if Prince didn't exist because he's too good, who would your like second place Player of the Week be?
So I know I just had an interview with him, but I think Stixa had a really good week. I know that the competition for him was a lot more lighter than the previous weeks, but he had 2 standout performances. His Kalista game was incredibly strong. He had great focus on objectives, which made it really difficult to smite away, and also he roamed mid. Like I feel like he has just been playing on form.
I'm actually going to go with his bot lane partner.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
I think Huhi, like we already talked about this at top of day. Raz, you've been highlighting how Huhi has kind of been a standout for this team in a lot of their losses when they were really shaky, but they looked, especially early with Huhi roaming, that they were going to be really good. I said that Huhi was going to roam to their first win. He didn't. He actually stayed in that Ezreal Karma lane, and they just dominated. And then today, I thought he had a really good performance, too. He was on the map as early as first back. And obviously, again, Kalista Renata, not something we've seen a ton of in the current meta. I thought it was pretty creative. I think, again, the way he gets on the map and has such intent behind where he's going, if he's going mid, having River control, I think has been so important for what the team and River, the jungler, wants to do. And they've been working really well together. So yeah, I'd give it to Huhi.
I think it's pretty hard to pick anyone other than the Golden Guardians or FlyQuest because they're the only 2 O's on the week and everyone else traded games and like it's hard to pick someone who lost the game. So for FlyQuest, I would actually just throw Speak out as well. I thought he had two really good games, especially the second one, just getting so far ahead of closer, still making things happen, being just a huge frontline threat.
Yeah, I was going to say Stixxay. Raz said Stixxay. I was going to say Spica. Mark said Spica.
So don't say anything.
So I'm going to say Doublelift because he had a really good first game against TL. He got 14 kills. And yeah, he lost to the King. Whatever. Prince took him down. But that doesn't mean it's a bad week. We've never given Player of the Week to someone who's 1-1. Why are we always...
I think we have actually
I think
won.
we might have.
They might have him once.
We definitely have one.
Because we've had like some messy...
Standings. These are the standings for the end of the day.
Quick transition.
FlyQuest at 6-0, as we've been discussing. We got 3 teams at 4-2, TL and TSM at 3-3, COG Golden Guardians Immortals at 2-4, and Dignitas still looking for that first win. Maybe next week. Anything could happen. Schedule for next week. Remember, we start on Wednesday.
Wednesday?
The answer to our question of second best team, FlyQuest Immortals, TLCLG, Dignitas, Cloud9, and TSM Golden Guardians. Full schedule is on lolesports.com. I also can find it on Leaguepedia because they pull from that as well. So there's a lot of ways to find out when the LCS is, but most importantly, it's on Wednesday.
Be here.
Yes.
Okay, LEC starts tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. NACL starts tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And that's it for week 3 of the LCS. We'll see you on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
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 How did I miss that?
Wednesday. Wednesday.